What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Journeymen. I am back at it today with my guy, ATL Shawty, Juju Gotti, as well as DragonflyJonez, and everyone's favorite hater, Amin Elhassan. We talk Deion Sanders' Colorado debut, Michigan martyr Jim Harbaugh, visions of Kobe, and so much more. Let's get to it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Journeymen, brought to you by the good folks at the DraftKings Network and Meadowlark Media. As always, I am your host, Andrew Hawkins, 7-year NFL veteran and one-time meter of Deion Sanders, which is relevant in this episode. It's probably surprising that I actually only met him once, but I am joined today by my guys, Juju, Shawty, ATL legend, WNBA purist, as well as my boy Tyler Perrier, aka DragonflyJonez of the Jenkins and Jones podcast. Later on, we'll be joined by our dude Amin Elhassan. Fellas, what's up? How's everybody doing? How was your weekend, Tyler? What did you do, man? Did you cook out?
Oh, yeah. I threw some ribs on the grill. Me and wifey, pigged out. We had a good little weekend, man. Sent some off in style, man. How was your weekend?
It was good. I don't grill. I'm not a grill master. I'll be honest with you, man.
We got to get you on that, bro.
Yeah, I know. I people have threatened to pull my black card numerous times.
I'm a grill evangelist. I try to get all the homies on the grill and but, limited success with that.
I'm a Uber Eats them dogs right to the crib, bro.
Yeah, I feel you.
I'm disappointed in myself. Juju, how was your Labor Day weekend, my boy?
I was cool. I went to my first wedding that I ever been to in my entire life. My partner got married to my homegirl. You feel me? I was there when they met. They were drunk as hell in the club. I was like, but this shit ain't gonna last worth a damn. They got married, bro. Bro, they got beautiful family. Like, salute to them, man.
Big salute. That's
beautiful day.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That is amazing. But Juju, that was your first wedding. How old are you, Juju?
Bro, I'm old enough to party. You feel me? The feds out there watching. They taking notes and they clicking links.
You old enough to have been to a wedding at some point. So you got to explain to us here on the show as well as the viewers, how the hell was that your first wedding you've ever been to?
Bruh, unfortunately, how my life went, I didn't have a lot of friends. I always wanted a lot of friends. I feel like if we just peel back the curtain, you feel me? That's one of my deepest therapies type. Like, I'm always looking for friends. But my entire life, the circumstances I done put myself into / lifestyle, I tried to chase instead of the right ones, trying to impress certain friends when I should have been living for myself and my family. It had me in a lot of solitary years and a lot of my friends wasn't never on no marriage. All my friends was busting guns and robbing each other. So
I know a lot of gangsters.
Thank God, God brought me out of that. You feel me?
Nah, amen
now
to that.
I'm enjoying this side of life.
Amen to that. And I got a smile on my face because it's a crazy thing, but you went real deep. You went real serious, and I couldn't wipe the smile off in the middle of what you were saying. And so I kept it on, Ju, but that is great perspective. But I will also say I got a lot of gun busting friends that I grew up with too. And even they tried a marriage a couple times. So you got to grade us out. I've been to a lot of weddings. It's 50-50 them things. Some make it, some don't. That is the reality and statistics of life. Grade the wedding for me, Ju. How was the experience? I'm sure you've seen it on TV a bunch of times. You've seen them on Instagram and all the places.
Yeah.
What's the Jew grade?
It was I think he's Argentinian and her family, I might be Cuban or something. I'm not sure. But it was a lot of flavor, a lot of dancing. So
yeah, I know that food was busting too.
Right, the food was stupendous. I was like, gosh, Boyardee must have cooked this one. Cause that thing was slamming. So it was a 10 in my book.
That's dope. My favorite thing about weddings is going to cross cultural weddings, right? Yeah. Like a wedding like that. I went to one of my good friends this summer. I was my first Jewish wedding this summer, and they turn up at the weddings. Juju, you haven't even been to a black wedding yet. That's crazy.
Right, never. That's what my insecurity walking into that wedding for real was. Dang, I'm one of the only brothers here. It was like 3 of us, maybe. It was 3 brothers in the entire, and that was the only black people. And so I'm always a little insecure, or I don't want to come off a certain way to these people, or You know what I mean? Just the natural, and they welcomed me in and was so comforting. That was the plus to me. They made me feel like they knew me for years. You feel me? So salute to them folks.
Lucky for you, Ju, there's a meme that goes around. Black people can fit anywhere, man. So you you were good. You were good no matter what. All right. So also this weekend, besides Juju getting to his first wedding ever, which is monumental, there was other monumental things happening in college football. It's really the Wild Wild West. Players is getting paid like crazy. Players is transferring. You got small schools beating big schools. But the biggest headline of the weekend was the guy that is on the jersey you have on right now, Juju. Primetime made his debut as the Colorado head coach in tremendous fashion. They knocked off TCU, who was ranked 17 and is a returning recipient of the national championship a year ago. And I think it shocked a lot of people. So Tyler, I'm gonna start with you. Were you shocked by the fact that Deion Sanders, Primetime, made good on all the trash he's been talking since he became a Buffalo?
I mean, I wasn't all that shocked because the thing is, I saw a lot of people like, wow, Shedeur is a real baller. Bro, he's been a baller. He was a 5-star in high school, right? He had Clemson and Bama and USC, top flight schools on his bumper. But I think a lot of people looked at that as, programs just wanted to cozy in and get Deion's kid there, because that's always good for business.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But Shedeur balled out. Travis Hunter, you know what I'm saying? You could say he's, on Heisman watch, phenomenal two-way player, played like 100 snaps that game. So no, I wasn't all that shocked, and of course after, the last time we saw TCU, they got their ass smacked up by Georgia, of course it's a different roster this year, but still, I wasn't that shocked. I do think that, Deion took a victory lap, as you should. Talk your shit, I'm all for that, right? Like celebrate every motherfucker. That's my motto. But, it's going to get real in a couple of weeks when Colorado got Oregon and USC back to back. So that's what we're really going to see, what this squad is made of.
Yeah, I think it was. I expected it to happen, not because I'm some guru, not because I know better. I just have irrational confidence in Primetime, bro. Whatever he say he's going to do, I be like, bro, he going to do it. I don't give a damn. It's going to happen. I cleaned up my whole crew. All my partners owe me a little something after this weekend. Shout out to those who have come through. Shout out to those who are watching this and still got to hit that phone. You feel me? But everything Prime said he was going to do in the league, out the league, he done did it, bro. My boy even got his hairline back. Like, that's underrated. Like, remember, he was at the network for a while, and them Ravens, that thing was out of here, Johnny. That thing has come back full effect. So salute to be, bro. And like you said, bro, Shedeur been balling. What's the puzzle? You feel me? Hunter been him. So it's really the America that was kind of sleep. You feel me? And I'm glad he woke them boys up that weekend. You did.
Well, I think the thing about Deion Sanders is you said that you had irrational confidence in Primetime. And I think at this stage of life and in sports and what we know about Deion Sanders is it's actually not irrational to have confidence in Primetime. And I think that's where there's been a little bit of a reckoning, at least for myself, right? Because it's not that I didn't think Colorado would do well. I actually knew they would do well. I actually knew Deion Sanders would be a great coach because college football is not about X's and O's. It's about the Jimmies and the Joes. If you can walk into homes of 5-star and 4-star recruits and get them to come to your school, you will not only have a chance to win, you will have a chance eventually at a national championship. And if he was able to do that at Jackson State with those facilities and basically operating at a deficit compared to high-level Division I FBS football, that tells you if you give him that backing, it's only a matter of time before he turns that program around. And it happened very, very fast. So that part didn't surprise me. The surprising part to me was that when he left Jackson State and went to Colorado, I was like, I don't care about Colorado. I really don't. Yeah. You could go there and win all the games in the national championship, and I don't think I will care. I don't think anybody outside of Colorado fans will give a damn. And that's where I think I underestimated him, because here I am again, invested in Colorado Buffalo football like I was Jackson State. And I like to think it was my black side that was like, yeah, HBCU. And I think there was some of that. But here I am still can't wait for the next Colorado game because I love the primetime narrative. I've seen so many podcasts. I've seen so many interviews. And obviously everybody's pulling the receipts of everyone who was talking that trash about what Deion could and couldn't do. And I always hated it because I'm like, who the hell are you to tell primetime anything about the game of football? I don't think people realize he wasn't just a good player. This guy transcended Like, when I talked earlier about me meeting him once, I remember that distinctly. I was 30-something years old, and I felt like a little kid in a candy store. There's not very many athletes, for me, that have that kind of presence, and Deion has that goes across all sports. And so, yeah, him kind of coming out the gate, talking this trash, doing what he does, and everything he said in his post game for me was completely right. Like, people hate people who are so confident in themselves, and the outside world has no bearings on where that level of confidence is. And Deion is the poster child for that.
For sure. I mean, I know you say, you didn't give a damn about Colorado football. Deion didn't either.
No, he didn't.
I mean, let's be real. This is not the final destination. I think his eyes are on that FSU job. And Mike Norvell's seat is a little hot there. So, but yeah, I was with you. I didn't like the way that, some of the comments he made when he exited Jackson State, right? Like, I didn't like the whole, I tried to be the HBCU savior and I couldn't get it done. And, he hops out here talking about how only 8% of alumni gives back when, that's the rate for PWIs too. And Jackson State had a fundraiser while he was there where the goal was 500,000, where they reached out to alumni, faculty, student organizations to get that raised. And they raised 600,000, exceeded that goal by 100,000. So, I didn't like, the narrative that he painted when we all knew that Jackson State was just a pit stop, right? We all knew that he was not planning to be there for long. We all knew that was going to be a springboard position, to get to another position. But, I would never root for Deion to fail. And I think that's how he probably took a lot of that criticism, is that guys want to see him fall. And, whatever you got to do to motivate yourself. Deion's, a prime, motivator. He knows how to, get through to those young men that he's got there. So, like I said, I'm looking forward to what he's doing with this Colorado program. But like I said, we all know this is just a pit stop too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And after the game, he said, salute to all y'all that believed in me. Salute to the hood. I stood up on the bed. I couldn't believe he said that out loud. You feel me? You know the Primetime, man. He got folks on Boulder Crest buying Colorado jerseys right now.
That's crazy.
You feel me? Come on, man. That's powerful.
It's crazy. I haven't seen this much Colorado fandom or interest from the black community since the days when Eric Bieniemy was there and like the old school Colorado days.
Cordell Stewart is
the Cordell Stewart back there. Slash was getting it busy. Well, you talked about like different ways of motivating your team, like whatever you have to do. And that gets us to our next topic. I don't know if you guys caught the Michigan game with Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh is currently serving a self-imposed suspension for recruiting violations, which, take a step back, recruiting violations in this day and age is wild. That's crazy.
Right. Like how are you still getting busted
what are you
doing? NIL shit? You know what I mean?
Like, it's the wild, wild west. How are you still breaking? What rules are you breaking? How are you doing this? Bro, that's amazing.
And he got caught buying cheeseburgers or some shit, bro. That's the part. Like, come on.
They can have whole McDonald's contracts now. It's like, it's not. Right. I don't know what you was doing. Like, you was trying to, I don't know, get NFL players eligibility. I don't know what it was, but he's serving his 3 to 4 game suspension. I think it's 3-game suspension. And his players had the free Harbaugh t-shirts on coming into the game. The opening snap, they held their 4s up, which was Harbaugh's number as a player. Like, free my coach, doing life in the box.
Cheeseburgers.
It seemed a little extra. It seemed a little extra, Juju. That's all I'm saying. What were your thoughts? Give it to me.
Bruh, I thought, and I love my brothers and sisters from the Caucasus Mountains, all my Caucasian brothers and sisters. I love y'all from the bottom of my heart. But I was like, yeah, this is some of y'all stuff going on here. Like, ain't nobody talking about no damn free Harbaugh, man. Come on, this whole situation is self-imposed, goofy. And salute to them folks for trying to feel like they banging something. I don't know, bro. Salute to Michigan. I love all. Salute to Jalen Rose. Salute to Juwan Howard. I got y'all back, bro.
Harbaugh might be the white primetime, bro. Now that I'm thinking about it. Because if you, Harbaugh's players historically ride for Harbaugh. Like, under all the circumstances, I think we on the public always have been like, we scrutinize him. He took a while to beat Ohio State and all the things. But if you think back to players, even from Colin Kaepernick, they ride for Harbaugh, bro. So I should be saluting. We making jokes, and we probably should be saluting that man. All right, we're going to take a little break and come back and talk some more college football and NBA and NFL in just a moment. So we opened this show up talking about all the craziness that was going on in college football this week. And there's other things we didn't talk about. Texas State beat Baylor, which is crazy. Texas State, I feel like, just became a Division I FBS team in the last decade. Clemson went down to Duke, which is just, in my wildest dreams, I wouldn't imagine that. But Clemson and Dabo have put their feet in the sand and say, hey, we are not taking part in the transfer portal, and they will continue to lose until they get right. But with all the conversation going on, the debate is happening of like, okay, well, college football is literally changing in front of our eyes as we see Colorado go from a 1-10 team to beating TCU with an entirely new roster in a year's time, which has been crazy traditionally. And people are on a lot of sides of the fence. There's the traditionalists who feel like it's changing the game too much too fast. And then there's players or people that I would say on the other side, like myself, that think, yo, bring more and more money. Bring it all. Make it professional football, because that's basically what it's been without the contracts anyway. So, Juju, we'll start with you. What is your perspective on college football in today's day and age?
Yeah, I agree with what you said. Like, Dabo's winning when keeping it real goes wrong, bro. You're going to keep on keeping it real, and your team is going to get worse and worse and worse every year because the times is moving on. And the coaches who stick to that, like, the kids shouldn't get paid, I don't understand them for real. It's like, what is your real motivation behind, like, putting your soapbox in the ground and just talking about that? Like, why not pay these kids? You feel me? If they get hurt playing for you, they through for real. That ain't just they play for you days over with. Like, that hamstring gonna be a doozy going forward. So I think that the people who stand on don't pay the kids is more goofy. So I like seeing Dabo lose to Duke. That's hilarious.
I celebrate it.
Until they get with the program, I think they can stay getting left behind.
Yeah, it's wild, like the 180 that I think a lot of us have done on Dabo, because when he first kind of blew up, I think a lot of us liked him. He seemed like, down home, good country folk. And then
he had a good name too.
And then the turn he's taken, where he's just like taking every chance he gets to talk about how he will not, be participating. He doesn't want his guys participating in NIL. He doesn't want his players cashing out, right? Like he's against the transfer portal. Like I just don't get what his deal is there. But I think we saw it all last night when he had rooting for Duke, bro. Like how far have you fallen when you're up against Duke and you're the villain? You know what I'm saying?
Wild.
So, but yeah, I want these kids to get paid. I don't have any issue with the transfer portal, because you got to understand that these kids have 3 or 4 years to get out there and show NFL scouts, NFL eyes that they can play at the next level. If you're in a spot where that's gonna, that's just not gonna happen, you got to go somewhere where that will happen. So I'm not against the transfer portal. These kids should have been getting paid. And like I said, I just don't know why Dabo keeps digging his heels in this, because it's gonna wind up biting this program in the ass. And I feel like we're starting to see, the beginning of that.
It feels reminiscent of when in the 70s and 60s, colleges wouldn't recruit black players, and the other colleges were. And the people that were the last ones to come recruit black players started getting their ass kicked, and they was like, well, we should probably let black people come to the school now. It does feel like that. But devil's advocate, Tyler, for the people who are saying, oh, there's conference realignments that are changing, the Stanford swim team has to now travel across the country and their parents have to go there to watch them swim, all based off of football and money and TV contracts, or the fact that people are now like, well, whoever has the most money is going to field the best team because players are getting paid. And for people at home, these ain't little bags. I know a tight end that's going to school. He's a 3 to 4 star, like a teeter, and he's making $120,000 a year through his college football tenure starting next year. So that's like I won't call him a low level player, but that's not a 5-star. So you can imagine what the top guys are making, Tyler. So this game is going to change. And yes, if you have more money in the boosters, your team will be better. You can pay for coaches, you can pay for players, you can revamp your university's team almost immediately. You do not give a damn about any of that, Tyler. That's what you're saying.
No, I'm not a fan of the conference realignment. Like you mentioned, Stanford in the ACC.
Say it with your chest, man. Don't back down.
No. I'm not with the conference. I want the kids to get paid.
Okay.
I'm not riding with the NCAA board, who is, like you mentioned, just so greedy and money focused here that they're putting Stanford in the ACC and shit like board with that. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that besides that just being absurd, I think it's unfair to the kids, to the parents of the kids, like you mentioned. But my whole thing is, bro, the money was always there, even for terrible programs. You know what I mean? Because I remember when Deion first took the job at Colorado, and everyone was like, "What is Colorado's football even like? Like, what is their reputation? What is their legacy? Like, what is the prestige of that program?" And the answer people kept saying was, "Well, they've got great facilities." You know what I'm saying? And whenever you ask, "How good is a college football program?" and the answer you get is, "They've got great facilities," that is telling you they literally cannot buy players to come there, right? And they're putting that money into like gyms and pec fly machines, right? Yeah, so Colorado always had the money. They just couldn't get the guys. You know what I'm saying? And now you got a guy like Deion, cool as hell. All the kids love him. They're going to get the guys now, and they're going to be putting that money into those kids, right? Like that money that, like I said, that went to the gym and went to pec fly machines and squat machines and shit. Going to go to some Hellcats now, for
hey, these kids. Some track hawks on campus, baby. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Exactly, and the opposite of that with the WNBA. Look, little sis Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, they making more money than they can possibly ever think about making with the W right now.
Angel said she doing all 4 years. She said she ain't going nowhere. I ain't
never leaving.
You feel me? So NIL blessing them folks with to keep their presence type shit. So it's like, come on, get it together. Realize that once they get it together, as far as like seeing how they can incorporate or coordinate these monies, these NIL deals to transfer across leagues, and maybe some of the W players can get sponsored or whatever the case is. I think they're going to have these slippery slopes of coaches not believing in this, and whenever the program director kind of going to get you booted out quicker than if you was, on their side. So stick strong to your morals, brothers and sisters, but remember, this is a cold world.
It's about the money. It's always been about the money, and that's my thing, and why I'm so for the players getting paid, because people are like, oh, it's like professional football now. It's always been professional football. It was hard as hell playing college football and trying to do school. And I graduated from Columbia with a 4.0 while I was in the NFL, and I can promise you, even in that moment, it wasn't as hard as it was in college football, because college football is two times as hard.
Come on, bro.
I appreciate that. I wasn't trying to stun on that one. I was just trying to get a context.
Bro, just slide.
I'm not just some
guy.
Ivy
League school while I was an NFL player, 4.0. Right? That's big shit. Congrats, bro.
I appreciate that. But what I'm saying is that was easier than college football to me. Because college football, there is the season, and then there is winter conditioning starts immediately, about a couple of weeks after the season. Then you go into spring ball, and then you go back into summer workouts, and you do the same thing over again for 4 to 5 years. There is no break, and they, the Saban, the Dabo Sweeney mentality is, I had you for 4 years. I'm going to grind you and run you into the ground. I played in professionally, and college football was 2 times as hard as playing professionally in the NFL. And I went to Toledo. I wasn't even at the really big programs. And so a lot of the injuries I have now that hurt, that still bother me, actually came from my college career. And so when you think about players, even what you said, Tyler, of like there's 3 to 4 years for athletes to showcase themselves for the NFL, the reality is most of them aren't going to the NFL because they're not good enough. The NFL is a completely different beast, even from high-level Division I football, and people don't realize that. It's like it is next level. It's like 5% go to the NFL for a reason. So the reality is this is the peak time for 95% of football athletes. Like this is it. This is what you got. You've worked your butt off, and you get these 3 years at Clemson or these 4 years at Notre Dame or these 2 years at Oregon or whatever it is. You should be able to make money in the peak of something that's making so much money for everyone else. So I don't mind conference realignment. I could see them sectioning off football into its own thing, but regardless, if that's how you make your money and it allows me to make my money, have at it, because it's always been big business. But for the athletes, they've always been on the outside looking in under the guise that they're getting an education that is equivalent to what they're putting their bodies through, what they're putting their lives through, and something that's going to bother them and affect them for the rest of their years.
Yeah, for sure. I totally agree with you that, like you said, 95% of these guys aren't going to the league. But for those 5% of guys who are going to the league, like you take a guy like Jalen Hurts, for instance, who, if he didn't get out of Alabama, he probably slips in the draft. He's probably not in as good of a spot as he is in Philadelphia right now, where he's like, a top 3, top 5 quarterback in the league. So, for the guys who do have that potential, who can get to the league, I do think that the transfer portal is vital. And also, like you mentioned, there are probably some delusional guys, man, coach just hating, nah, bro, you're just not good. But either way, you still deserve that freedom to go somewhere else if you so choose.
The Tattoo 5 from Ohio State, who all got in trouble for getting tattoos, and in this day and age, it's crazy now. They were trading tattoos for jerseys, right? In this world where, mid-level players are making $100,000 a year, these guys lost their eligibility. Terrell Pryor had to enter the NFL early. The rest of them never panned out and really didn't have.
Mike Tressel got fired behind
Mike
that.
Tressel got fired, right? Like, that was the peak of they should have been making the most money they could in those moments because they weren't guys that were going to go on to have 10-year NFL careers, right? And so to even take that away from them in that thing, it's just, to your point, Tyler, it's a messed up world, but that is the world that we live in.
True that.
Yeah. So you talked about Jalen Hurts, and also in this Jalen Hurts kind of as a black quarterback, he was a guy who had to transfer, went to Oklahoma. They tried to get him to play receiver. They tried to get Lamar Jackson to work out for other positions, right? And so in this transfer portal world, we wouldn't have our Jalen Hurtses or our Lamar Jacksons because of these stereotypes or stereotypical things they put on athletes, college athletes, black quarterbacks specifically. And in Baltimore, we actually have a full quarterback room for the first time ever. And it's not just the players. It's the backup, the third stringer are all black quarterbacks, and the quarterback coach is black. So we've heard the debates for years and years about how this narrative is starting to change, obviously with the Patrick Mahomes, the Jalen Hurts, the Lamar Jacksons, the Russell Wilsons, the so on and so forth, where it's no longer what it used to be, whereas that a black quarterback wasn't smart enough to lead a team, or there were unconscious biases that would give white quarterbacks the advantage over black quarterbacks. Is this something, I've seen it all over the place, is this something that should be celebrated, or should it feel more like the norm and us take it all in stride?
It should be celebrated for sure. Like 100,000 billion%. Them folks hijacked the narrative of Colin Kaepernick. He died so we can walk. They should celebrate this for. I'm talking about just as big as we celebrate yardage or 2 black coordinators in the Super, whatever celebrate this. They should do a billboard in Baltimore. They should do it all. Put all the stops in the parade too.
Put all the stops in the parade. My dog said throw a party for it. I think a good measurement of progress is when things like this aren't a big deal anymore. You know what I mean? Yep. And I feel like this isn't being made into a big deal. I feel like it's a nice little fun fact, and I think that's a sign of progress right there. Yeah. You feel me? Yeah. But yeah, like y'all were saying, Lamar Jackson. I think he has even gone through some shit on pro level where guys are like questioning his playmaking ability, his reads and all that. And I feel like that's still kind of rooted in the whole, tired, black quarterbacks, aren't as intelligent as white quarterbacks thing there. But, I never understood the Lamar hate. I think he's a phenomenal player. He's an MVP. So, rooting for him to ball out this season.
Absolutely. Sure. I agree with that. And I think it makes sense. That's why I won't say that it shouldn't be celebrated. I agree. I think it's a great note, and it does show progress. But I think it went against all logic previously, and I never understood that. I never understood for quarterbacks like Lamar that you build your offense around that have a certain skill set, why you wouldn't also go get quarterbacks with that same skill set. And so I think the backups of Lamar Jackson are less about that they're black. Yes, they are black quarterbacks, but not every black quarterback is a mobile quarterback, right? And in today's day and age, there are white quarterbacks who run as well. But I think the reason why it is the way it is because his backup should have a skill set like he has, so that way if he gets hurt, your offense can stay afloat in the similar vein. You don't have to change a bunch of things up. And so what the ridiculousness to me is when a quarterback who is not mobile is backing up Michael Vick. That never made sense. Right? For me, at least. So when I feel Michael Vick is backing up Donovan McNabb in that time, it made sense because he can do a lot of the same things Donovan McNabb can do. And so that's where I'm like, yeah, this feels more like a smart football move by Harbaugh and the Ravens than it is them trying to make, their early entry for Black History Fun Fact of the year. So
and can we celebrate the fact that Lamar ain't never been in a lick of trouble? I don't see him in the news. I don't see him being locked up for XYZ, nothing domestic or international. You feel me? And he be with the sniper gang. He be with Kodak. That's locked up central. He supposed to been locked up. Man, that boy be staying clean, bro. Salute to Lamar, his team, his mama. Phenomenal job, man. Highest paid. Come on, brother. Throw the parade now. Baltimore.
Lamar Jackson is one of the most professional players that I've ever been around. That is not I'm not saying that because he's black and because I don't believe that. I'm telling you, there is very few players I've ever met that are more focused on winning championships than Lamar Jackson. And that is a fact. And I think that narrative gets lost. But if you look back at every single interview he's done in his career, it has never slipped one time. They ask him what his goals are. They're to win a championship. And I don't care how much of a liar you are going to slip up at some point. And every time I've met him, every time I've spoken to him, every time I've been around him, outside of the cameras, outside of football, that narrative shines through every time. So I think that's what makes Lamar Jackson so special. We're going to take a quick break, and we're back to talk some more football. And eventually my man Amin Elhassan is going to be in the building. We're going to talk some basketball as well. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. We got our guy, Amin Elhassan, in the building. It's been too long, but he is back in the Journeymen universe. And we were talking in the break about Snuggies, because I rocked a Snuggie from like 2009 to like 2012 probably. And you put the ridiculous face on about made-for-TV products, but I think that was a good product, bro.
Why'd you stop? It was a good product.
It got old, and I didn't buy another one. And I was spending less time on the couch getting tweets off than I was then, because I was on the couch a lot.
It sounds like you full circle though. You come back to your roots.
I do. Next time you're on, I'm going to cop a Snuggie and wear it here in studio. Tyler, you didn't have a Snuggie?
Nah.
Come on, man.
I had a blanket, bro. That's all I needed. Like I didn't understand the allure of the Snuggie, man. It's just a robe that you wear backwards, bro.
It's functional, man. It's got like a certain the ratio from arm to sleeve is there. Juju, you had a Snuggie, right?
Yeah, I had a plethora of Snuggies.
Yeah, my dog, man.
Snuggies, big Georgia, UGA Snuggies. You feel
me?
Snuggies.
He was matching his forces to the Snuggies.
You feel me? The best made-for-TV product, though, that came out on the commercial was the clapper. The clap-on, clap-off.
Oh, I always wanted one of that.
That's a good one. That's a good one. But the worst made-for-TV product, because you mentioned the J.J. Redick shooting video.
J.J. Redick.
I got a Torrey Holt wide receiver skills video in college. So I'm up late night in college, and, I'm trying to get to the league. That's my goal. I'm a 5'7" receiver at Toledo. I'm gonna need some NFL knowledge in my system, right?
You went to Torrey Holt
so I'm up there. I'm like, Torrey Holt is dope. He plays the slot, he plays the outside, and he was very convincing. I'm gonna show you what you need to make it to the next level and maximize what it takes. And I'm like, I need all of this. So I buy it, right? I have a bank card, I think. There's not much money on it. It was $30. I might have had $48 in my account. This is not a joke. Plus shipping and handling. I get the video, I wait for it, like, I'm talking on pins and needles waiting for this thing to come in. I pop it in. This is the most elementary teaching of wide receiver I have ever seen. It was like, and make sure you balance your stance between your back leg and your front leg.
Good advice, man.
When the ball is coming, put your hands right in front of your face so it doesn't hit. And I'm like, come on, this is not helping me. And so I was so mad at myself for spending what was 70% of my net worth on this DVD. And I've seen Torrey Holt later in life, and I've voiced to him many times in every podcast or show I've done. When the opportunity arises, I say, Torrey, you owe me $30 with interest and inflation. Because $30 to me then was a lot more than $30 to me now, and I need that back.
And let's be fair. You did make it, though. I mean, if I'm Torrey Holt, I'm like, you're welcome.
No, it wasn't.
Torrey Holt got you, bro. Yeah, 9-finger bandit right there. You ever seen Bro's pinky finger? That shit is the Q dog. Like, that shit look. But the funny thing about this is this was the era before YouTube, dog. Like,
yes,
kids these days, they just go into YouTube and looking up highlights to learn now. So.
No, it was like to get NFL knowledge. You had to go to the made-for-TV products.
Darren's dance moves. He taught you all the instincts moves. Ain't no lie. Bah, bah, bah. That was a good one. I bought that guy.
I would have rather had Darren's dance moves or Tybo. I would have had Billy Blanks, Tybo.
Billy motherfucker.
Showed me more about getting off the line of scrimmage as a receiver than Torrey Holt's DVD would have.
Get the blue blocker sombrero freestyle home.
All I know
to tell you how to run that post route.
All I know is if Torrey Holt has me in his success stories of his website, if he brings it back and he says success stories, Andrew, I am suing for everything he has, bro.
Oh, you got to be like, yo, you don't believe me? Just ask NFL wide receiver Andrew Hawkins.
Torrey, I'm telling you now, bro. If you put me in the testimonials. You will speak to my lawyers, bro. I'm coming for everything. I want them Super Bowl rings. They're gonna be at my crib. I'm gonna be a 7-year NFL vet with 3 Super Bowl rings or however many he got. All right, football season is here though. So I need predictions from you guys. Who is your Super Bowl champ this year? And who is your MVP? We'll start with you, Tyler.
I think we're in the Mahomes era. So, I mean, I know this is a safe pick. This is a boring pick, but he's the best football player in the world. I'm thinking he's getting an MVP and another ring.
All right, we got back-to-back. What you got? I mean,
going Giants, Super Bowl champs as the wild card. They're going to win 10 games. They're going to be the wild card. They're going to go on a magical run.
So Daniel Jones is your MVP.
Saquon Barkley.
Saquon,
he got
running back.
He got the
cosign. When's the last time running back was MVP?
I was going to ask the same thing.
He got the cosign from OJ. So
what does that mean? That sounds like the worst cosign you could possibly get in this day and age.
If good enough for Juice, it's good enough for me.
Oh, man.
LaDainian Tomlinson was MVP. I think was probably the last one, right?
Maybe Adrian Peterson.
AP, yeah. I think
AP for sure.
AP might have been it. If it's good enough for Juice, it's good enough for me. When I say you ain't going nowhere in life, it's gonna get ugly for you in the latter part of your life. Juju, who you got? Super Bowl champ and MVP.
I got the Buffalo Bills playing the Philadelphia Eagles in the Super Bowl. It's gonna be 99-100, and Philadelphia Eagles they might. I don't know who's gonna win. I don't know who's gonna have 99, who's gonna have 100. But the game gonna be so good. Jalen Hurts gonna win an MVP, and Josh Allen. And they might share the Super Bowl because them are my 2 hearts.
That
co-MVP
might be the worst prediction I've ever heard ever on NFL.
Hey, I got the Giants winning.
And he got the Giants. And I was going to say that about his. And then Juju comes in with the most ridiculous prediction that I think I've ever heard.
What about you, Mr. Torrey Holt video?
Yeah. So from the Torrey Holt school of wide receiver, our prediction is Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs win the Super Bowl. I do. I agree with what Tyler said. It is boring, but he is the best. But I think Lamar Jackson wins his second MVP this year.
Comeback season.
Because he seems like, for the reasons I stated earlier before you joined me, he is the kind of person who I think plays better when you give him his money. I think it's because a lot of people get paid and then they just they cash it in. That is not the Lamar Jackson. I think he puts up another career year to kind of stamp that, yes, all you needed to do was pay me, and we could have been on this train.
So let me ask a question to everybody, because I am a notorious addict of Hard Knocks. Mm-hmm. It's my favorite show, man. Wow. And every year I watch Hard Knocks, I fall in love with who. It could be about anybody. It could be about Bethune-Cookman.
You have an infatuation when watching players lose their job. I get it. Go ahead.
Which, by the way, this year they've not given me enough of that at all. I'm kind of disappointed.
Messed up, bro.
But I'm watching Aaron Rodgers. I think he might be able to do this, man. I don't know. I was one when he was going in. I'm like, the guy's 40. Come on, man. I watch Hard Knocks. You look good. So, what are we thinking about the Jets?
I don't think Aaron Rodgers is done. I think he's still got a couple good seasons in him. Sauce Gardner. That's the guy right there.
He's legit.
He's
a real deal.
You could say he's a top 3 cornerback in the league already, just going into his second year. I'll hear you out if you say he's the best, first rookie All-Pro, unheard of. But yeah, I do think Rodgers still might have a little bit more in the tank. That Jets defense is crazy. The offense was always the problem there. And shit, you bring a guy in like Aaron Rodgers, he might be able to fix it.
I think it's much to do about nothing. I think anybody who talks this much, any team that gets this much headlines and is this infatuated with being in the news aren't actually good. That's just not typically how it works. So, it's like pickleball. Everyone has a pickleball team, and they're like, "Oh, this is the next wave." If everybody's early, nobody's early. That's kind of how I feel about the Jets.
You just on time?
Yeah, you're just there. All right. We're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna talk some basketball when we get back. We're here on Journeyman. All right, we would be remiss not to talk some hoops now that we got Amin in the house. We got DragonflyJonez, Mr. NBA Twitter, and Juju. Juju is a aficionado of everything. There's nothing that Juju doesn't have a perspective on and an expertise. Look at him.
Props, man.
He's ready, bro. Look. Always, man.
Put Sydney on this cover. You see Sid had it the other day? She went crazy. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Nah,
Sid went so crazy the other day. Come on, man. Salute to my sister. Put her on the cover.
Salute. My bad. I agree. I appreciate it, man. All right, so Team USA, they fell to, who was it, Lithuania?
Yeah.
Where are we at with NBA basketball? Noah Lyles, who is the fastest track runner, who I had no idea of until he made his NBA comment.
Exactly.
To be very clear, which might be a genius marketing move by him. He talked about how the NBA aren't really world champions. And here we are on the national stage or the international stage losing. Now, granted, our best players aren't playing. So there's that caveat. But still, I feel like we should be winning.
Well, first of all, Noah Lyles, it's not 2024. It's not a leap year, so we don't need to hear from you.
Yeah.
Leap years is when we hear from y'all. Just go ahead, go back into your hole and hide away. But, you know, it's national team play, so it's not like proving his point because there still isn't a club side anywhere in the world that's going to beat the Nuggets 4 out of 7 times. That's the thing that people don't understand. It's like, it's not like Jokic is going to go play for them in a 7 games. He's part of NBA, so
right. Yeah, no, that's a good point.
You still gotta check him.
Yeah,
but in terms of the Lithuania game, it's a weakness for the USA. It's a small team. It's a smallish team in terms of no real size, beefy guys other than Walker Kessler. Even Jaren Jackson is kind of more of a slender combo guy. So there is a weakness in terms of the offensive glass. But also, it was a meaningless game. Not meaningless, but it's like for seeding purposes. But that was a knockout stage. We're in the knockout stage now. They played Italy today. They destroyed them. And I think things are going to go as planned up until there's only one team out there that I think, all right, they might be a problem. That's Canada. Canada is the one team where it's like, this is a worthy opponent in terms of can match the number of NBA players, the depth, and also they've got a little bit of hunger with them.
What do you think, Tyler? How does the Team USA turn things around?
The FIBA championships, bro, that's the JV squads. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and I think that losses like this that happen in FIBA play, I think that those are actually good for the Olympics because then guys in the NBA are like, all right, we can't f around. You know, we really got to get, you know, out here. You know what I'm saying? Like you'll get, you know, your all NBA guys who sign up to be in the Olympics. But, you know, like a lot of people have been taking victory laps like, see, we told y'all that, you know, the Denver Nuggets aren't the real world champs because of the USA national team losing to Lithuania. And I don't see how that even correlates, you know, because like Amin said, you know, there is no team in the world that will beat the Denver Nuggets in 4 out of 7 games. And that's what I didn't understand during that whole conversation. It's like, bro, the NBA is the best league in the world. You know, the best players in the world go there. The best teams in the world are there. If you win the NBA championship, you are the best team in the world. Like, I didn't know why people were just being so dense about that. It just turned into an argument about semantics where people were like, well, it's technically a domestic league. No, it's not. It's a league that plays games in the United States. That's a global league that the best players in the world go to. So, like I said, you know, this loss to Lithuania doesn't really mean anything on that scale. I think this is like the 3rd time Lithuania has beaten us, right? Like those Eastern Europeans, bro, like they can hoop. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So yeah, like I said, I don't think this means anything. And I do think that is actually a good thing for, you know, the upcoming Olympic squad because we might actually get some all NBA guys to roll out for this one.
Speaking of old NBA guys, Lamar Odom said that Kobe came to him in a dream. I don't remember exactly what he said Kobe said, but he said he's been visiting him in his dreams recently. And, you know, a larger conversation of like everybody still leans on Kobe a lot for someone who has passed away a couple of years ago now. And he is a legend. And obviously, I mean, he was my favorite athlete of all time. But don't we feel like people are starting to probably take advantage of his name a little bit here and there?
Starting?
Yeah, I mean, it's getting really bad. It's like when it was fresh, it was like, okay, we get it. Like, this is a thing you're paying. It felt a little closer to paying your respects. Now it feels like a little bit of exploitation.
Like they getting free tickets and like getting caught up on stage and stuff.
So you're calling out the family, bro, of all people? Saying, like, I'm talking about Lamar Odom getting visions and going on podcasts and saying it. I'm okay with people giving the Bryant family basically red carpet, whatever they want for the end of time.
That's fine, but like Taylor Swift go take off her hat and all that. Like, come on, man. Really? like we do. I know what we're doing here.
What are we doing?
We're bartering off of his memory. I'm Taylor Swift. Like, how can I take this from a 9.5 or 9.8 to a 10? Where's Kobe's family?
Yeah,
bring them up front. I've got a hat to place on a child's head. Like, come on, man. What are we doing? Lamar Odom, Rondé Hollis Jefferson. Kobe's number 2 to Jesus right now in terms of prayers. Jesus still number 1, but like he's making a push. People calling on the Kobe name, man, and it's
who's
taking the most advantage of Kobe's name, Tyler? Give me your perspective first. Who's taking the most advantage of Kobe Bryant's name to date?
Oh, it's Jason Tatum, no question. You know, Jason Tatum had that whole run, that postseason where he was like, you know, he was texting Kobe's number and all that. And I don't want to make light of that. Like, you know, I know people grieve in their own, you know, unique ways. So, But I will say what was unique to me about Lamar Odom's statement here is I feel like he broke some new ground on this one, right? Because like people's notion of the afterlife is either it's incredible, like it's heaven, you know what I'm saying, or it's terrible, like it's hell, or there's nothing there, you just die and that's it. And I don't think I've ever heard anybody say, "Yo, the afterlife is just mid, bro." Like this shit weak low key. You know what I'm saying? I don't think we've ever heard that perspective about the afterlife before. So I'm intrigued. I think Lamar needs to expand on this.
What do you think of me?
He's like, it's hours and Kobe. We got Spectrum upstairs, so we don't get ESPN anymore. Come on, man.
Not C-SPAN Detroit. It does seem like people are doing a lot for theatrics at times in the name of Kobe Bryant. Rest in peace to the legend himself. Speaking of more theatrics, Ja Morant is back in the gym. And that's not news. That's a good thing. Ja Morant is one of the most talented young basketball players in the world. And you could tell Noah allows that. That is fact, okay? What he's in the gym wearing has been interesting to a lot of people. It have been T-shirts with plain words on them, like gratitude, rebirth, accountability. So I want to get perspective. Juju, what are your thoughts, man? I know Juju going to take the sunny side of things.
Most
always.
Positive man.
What you think, Juju, of...
Nah, first of all, Lamar Odom, they need to make sure that tweet didn't come from the Bunny Ranch. Boy, good. I don't know who you feel me? We know his history. So let's make sure, somebody check on my boy Lamar. He might have seen him for real. You feel me? But I think the next thing on Ja Morant t-shirts, I don't know, Juvenile featuring Birdman, Bounce Back.
Bounce Back? I don't mind the t-shirts if they're, Gildian? What are the t-shirts you can just get? Like, if they're Nike t-shirts and this is a part of a rollout, if we rolling back out Ja Morant as a brand and Nike is funding this like a booster in NIL deals, then I'm like, okay, nah, I don't want to hit. But if they're Gildian and he's...
Look, I'm rooting for Ja Morant hard, man. Like, he's one of my favorite players. I think he's genuinely a good kid who's just a knuckle, young and dumb. Like I said, the first time we were talking about it months and months ago, right? Yep. You got to understand, for this kid, old school music is Soulja Boy. That's like old school. That's throwback for him, right?
I was rocking Snuggies when Soulja Boy was hot.
I really think like this is a opportunity for him to find himself and all that. Stop with the corniness, man. Just play basketball. You don't have to have a t-shirt. You don't have to do a campaign. Just play. I swear to God, play basketball. Don't play with guns. You'll be fine. Trust me. Because he's good at it. He's good at playing basketball.
He's good at playing with guns too, Tyler.
Yeah, I think Nike's doing too much right here. I feel like Nike's just someone who will never let a good controversy go to waste, right? Like, I mean, you got the man wearing shirts that say redemption, and I'm like, bro, redemption for what? Like, you cosplayed as NBA YoungBoy. You didn't do anything terrible, bro. You're just flashing guns on Instagram. I promise you, the easiest thing to not do is flash guns on Instagram. I've never done it a day of my life. You know what I'm saying? It's very easy to not do what Ja got in trouble for doing. But like, I for sure, I love Ja. I think he's a phenomenal talent. I do think that, he was just doing knucklehead shit. I think that he's going to be on, going down the right path, hopefully.
Tyler, you ain't never flashed no guns on Instagram?
Nah.
That shit is...
Bro, you missing out.
It's a thrill. It's invigorating.
Use that close friends, though. That's what I'll say.
Use it to a T. We're going to come back next week for Journeymen, and we're going to do a whole episode with Tyler just flashing the straps on IG.
I actually do have a gun safe, too.
See, I don't even have a gun, and I'm getting served those ads. My algorithm is algorithming crazy. All right, but that's it for this week's Journeyman. We appreciate all of you joining us. Make sure you journey back to us next week. Same time, same place. Shout out to my guy, Juju. Shout out to my guy, DragonflyJonez, and Amin Elhassan for joining us here on Journeyman. Until next time, they didn't believe in us. God did.
I did.
I did.